It was a win for Spike, but it was also drama throughout. Let's have a bit of a talk about the Chevrolet Grand Prix. And we'll start off with the winners in what was a very, very competitive field. I mean, you look at the fastest lap times and you see that most of them were within a couple of tenths of each other. There are a couple of outliers, for example TDS or Tower Motorsports at the fast end, at the slightly slower end the Era Motorsports. But the Orica field, the essentially one make formula because of how good the Orica LMP 207 is, was really competitive. There were tight margins throughout the race. And yes, we do need to talk about the ending of it. That high-speed crash for the number 43, the Inter-Europol car with Tom Dillman at the wheel. It was good to see that he was okay after such a hefty shunt. But it's not like AO Racing were undeserving of the win. They were competitive throughout. They did perform relatively well. And after, I think it is 6 pole positions in LMP2 for Spike, it ends up being a win. There were a couple of moments that were a bit nasty with the LMP2 class. Most of them were where they were lapping GT3s. I mean, that's how we ended up seeing the Forte number 78 with Goldberg, I think. Was it Goldberg behind the wheel? Or was it far back behind the wheel at the time of the crash? That's how we ended up seeing that incident happen anyways. But yeah, it was overall a really competitive race out there. Elsewhere in the GTD Pro, Costa started and ended with Altair in the middle. And Dragon Speed ends up picking up the win. And it was a good win at that as well. I mean, we do have to recognise that they finished onto the safety cars. The gaps don't necessarily make the most sense. But they managed to hold off the Corvette PMM and the AO Racing, which rounded out the GTD Pro podium, who also had good runs. They didn't have the fastest lap in GTD Pro. I believe the fastest lap in the GTD Pro went the way of Vassar Sullivan. But this is a field that ended up spreading out quite a bit. It went back and forth and back and forth. It wasn't quite LMP2 where at times they just formed a bit of a train. But it was still something that we did see some battles throughout. Likewise, when it comes to GTD itself, that Wayne Taylor Racing Lamborghini was at the front for a lot of the day. Well done to Formal and Hinderman for picking up the win there, ahead of the Winwood number 57 for Ward and Ellis. That is a formidable opponent to see off. With the podium being rounded out by a Vassar Sullivan Lexus, the 12. That was a nice podium to have. 3 different manufacturers. There are 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. 6 in the top 6, I think, even. Because behind them, Wickens and Adele. That's really nice to see. And on home territory. It would have been nice if they were able to get a podium. But 4th place, top 5 is a really fine performance for them. Especially because Wickens has been behind the wheel for a couple of rounds now, right? DeAngelis and Stevenson with the Heart of Racing entry in 5th. It's good for DeAngelis when you've got an off weekend to be able to still go and perform in a different class of car. Because it is an off weekend because there are no GTPs. And then the Inception, number 70 in 6th. Ahead of a different Ferrari in 7th, the Triarci. It's nice to see that kind of balance in GTD. Granted, the gaps aren't the most reflective because of the full course yellow periods. But when you see that most of them were on the same lap at the end of this, Sure, yes, a few of them would have probably dropped a lap down had there not been the FCYs. But there would have been a good number of GTDs who were still on the same lap at the end of the race. And that's GTDs and GTD Pros combined, most likely. But either way, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings, those are the stories that stood out to me. Let me know anything that you think that I've missed in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching and joining, folks, and until next time, it's, well, bye for now.